We're learning about tefillin. As you can look at the page that you have in front of you, it shows you the three parts of the tefillin. The top part, the one that looks like a square, is called the housing, the bayit. You can see that at the top of your picture. The second part is the frame that's around it, and that has two parts actually. The titura is what it's called. That's the I guess the support platform. And there's, if you can see on the far right hand side, titura actually means like a bridge type of thing. That's what the word means. And on the far right side, it says the word where you put the strap through that little hole. That's called the ma'avarta. Ma'avar means a passage, so that's the passageway. And the third part, of course, is the stitching. It's stitched together. That we're going to see how it opens up, and you put the parchments inside. Let's look at the bottom of the page. A few halachot first about the bite. Okay, the first most halachot is that the squareness of stone cannot differ one side from the other by more than 1/49. That's about 2%, right? So you can have it 33 millimeters one edge and 34 millimeters the other edge. That's okay. It seems like, right? As long as it's not more than 2% off. So they actually use calipers and they really precisely measure these things. It should be precisely square. You can see go to the right hand side. Dented is a problem. If it's dented in the corner, that's often what happens to tefillin, is that they get ruined by you're wearing them and you bow because you're saying modium or something and you're too near the wall, and boom, it smashes. Good morning. It smashes your head. It smashes the tefillin. So that's a problem. Another problem is the partitions. You can see in the head film, we're talking about the head film. Yeah, for sure. The head film have 4 sections in it. That's the 4 lines, and they're supposed to be separate. They're supposed to be separate, but not. But they're still supposed to look like a square. So they have to be separated, but molded so that they stay together. Also, you can see in the bottom left-hand corner, sometimes making those compartments, they're not done in a symmetric fashion, or that the corners are rounded as in the middle picture, or that sometimes someone might have noticed that the corner is missing, so you just he doesn't want to lose out his $1,000 or whatever it is. So maybe somebody selling it was not God-fearing. We'll just fake it, put in some plaster, some glue in the corner, and sell it as if it's actually square and complete, but it's not. So you got to be aware of those things.
I thought you said that it's the scrolls that are the really expensive bit of the filling.
Yeah, they're both expensive, but that's also expensive. The housing is also expensive.
Is this a real scroll? Sorry.
Absolutely. Yeah, these are real
Sure, can I see that?
I'm looking first, and then I'll give it to you.
Okay, let's look at page number 2, and then we'll open up the tefillin that we have. Here's page 2, please. Pass these around. Page 2 shows you that when you drill the holes, in order to get the threads, they're actually not made from string, they're made from sinews. I think I mentioned that yesterday. That they have to be threaded in the right precise fashion so that they don't cause a distortion. If you have too large holes, it could be a problem. If they're too small, you won't be able to get the thread in. So, and if they're out of the alignment, then it could take the entire square shape and tilt it, because leather is a malleable material. It can change. So also then you have sometimes that the stitches get broken. If one stitch gets broken, it's okay, but if 2 stitches, you can see the bottom page 2, 2 stitches are torn one opposite the other, or 3 stitches are anywhere in the tefillin, then it makes the tefillin invalid. So you've got to, you see the picture on the left where the 2 stitches are not one opposite the other, so they're kosher. But the one on the right is not kosher because there's 3, and also the one in the middle picture on page 2 is not kosher because you got
just 1 second.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. The stitch is broken opposite each other, meaning one is on the bottom, one's on the top. You see that in the middle picture in number 2? Sure. Let's look at page number 3 here. Moshe, and these around, please. Thanks. So on page number 3, we're going to look at the third part of the tefillin, which is the bridge, as it's called, or the platform, what I called it, and that has to be sewn also precisely. The ribua means the square. It has to be a perfect square, and the ribua, besides the mavarta, of course. Besides the place where you put the strap through, talking about that square, at the top of it has to actually be square, not like it has in the middle picture where it's 52 millimeters to 50. That's exactly what is prohibited. It has more than 2% off. And also he says the titura being cut is the problem. If you look on the bottom right hand side, you see that the titura is cut on both sides. That enables you to get the strap through easily. Now some tefillin, for the hand tefillin, are cut larger on one side of the tefillin and small on the other side of the tefillin. That's because that's the difference between a lefty and a righty. The question is, where are you putting the, not in the head tefillin. Head tefillin, they're exactly equal. Let me just show you an example here. See, I've got a lot of scraps here. Here's a tefillin shel yad. Here, I don't know if you can see it from that distance, but on this side, the hole was made bigger. The cut was made further in. That's because you want to have the knot as close as possible into the, pulling it in, so that this is supposed to be touching, the knot is supposed to be touching the house. And by cutting a little bit more in, that's going to enable you to get there. Now, if you're a lefty, you're putting your tefillin on the right hand, the knot's going to be always facing your body, so it's going to be on the inside, and so the knot's going to be over here. So you need, in some instances, who just asked me recently that they had righty tefillin, they should change it into lefty tefillin. My nephew called me up and said my friend is all upset because they got him the wrong kind of tefillin, and he's a righty and he's a lefty, they need to switch it. And he was really, does that make the whole tefillin that's not kosher? Calmed him down. So, 15 years old or something. His friend was really, really upset. He's trying to help him out. So he called the rabbi that he knows. I mean, really, he should call the rabbi that he goes to school. He goes to a religious school. But he called me. I was happy to calm him down. And I said, it can be fixed, but it may be expensive, just because you have to cut the ma'avarta, the passage. You might have to cut it on the other side if you're switching it from a lefty tefillin to a righty tefillin, or the opposite. Okay, so we're looking at page 3. I'll give you the pages, the guys who just came. Here's one for you, and one for Noam. And here's page 1 for you and Noam. And now we're looking at page 3. Here's page 3 for you, Noam, but somebody who's sitting there. Yeah.
Okay.
So you can come over here, you can come over here, come over there, wherever you want. Plenty of room.
These are your tefillin that you bring?
Yeah, I brought them. Yeah. I brought them in. You'll get a pair too, don't worry.
Can I ask a question that's sort of related to this, but sort of also a tangent?
Sure.
I remember yesterday you said that stuff that has kedusha, that was used for fulfilling a mitzvah,
Yes.
needs to be buried.
Well, let me be precise. There's a difference between used for a mitzvah and used for A kedusha mitzvah.
Okay, used for kedusha mitzvah.
Yeah.
Tefillin, mezuzahs,
Good.
sefer Torahs,
Excellent.
Megillas.
No,
No.
Megillas doesn't have this. Maybe Megillas. Maybe I'm not sure. It's sort of a
Okay,
lower
okay.
level.
The three
three
important
biggies.
things. The
Sefer
three
Torah,
big
Tefillin,
ones.
Mezuzahs. We had
Three
one
big
word.
ones.
Yeah.
Okay, you got something. You got to. Where do we do that buried? Like, do we have like a spot here where we do it? Is
Sure.
it like there? I'm assuming there's a bunch peppered around Yerushalayim.
Usually it's in the cemetery,
Oh, okay.
and they put it in. Either they have a separate area of the cemetery, or they put it right to the next to a body that's being buried. It doesn't, not inside the coffin, but it's buried properly in a Jewish cemetery.
Okay.
Okay.
So is there like, hypothetically speaking, if I had something that needed to be buried in that spot, do I just like bring it to you, or list me?
Good question. Good question. So, as a matter of fact, you guys live in a very good spot for that. Most shuls have in the back of the shul something called a geniza. Geniza means a place for hiding away things, for putting away things. This is what the word in Hebrew means. Ganuz is the hidden. So geniza is something that's hidden. It's something you hide away. And every shul usually has one. It's in the attic, it's in the back. They collect until they have enough, and then they go bury it. So in Yiddish, they would call it shemus.
Ah, that's the one.
Shemus is an Ashkenazi way of saying shemot, which means names. What they're referring to is the holy names of God. It says in the Torah, you're not allowed to destroy the name of God. If you've written down the name of God on a piece of paper, you're not allowed to destroy the piece of paper. So the Yiddish word, instead of saying geniza, the hidden stash, they call it shemus. But either way, so every shul around the world has that, and eventually they when they have enough, they go and they bring it to the burial. Right here, outside the yeshiva, turn left about 10 meters less. There's a big blue bin. That's a communal geniza collection bin. And there's a little slot in the top, or a little door in the top, and you can put all your geniza in there. Problem is, people put too much in there.
Yeah.
They don't, even if it doesn't have the name of God. They think anything that's connected to Torah should be put there. And
I remember being told to put tzitzit strings that ripped off in there.
Yeah, that's a nice thing to do. You don't have to. The tzitzit string, because it's not what tzitzit strings you can put in a plastic bag and put it in the regular car.
Does this count as a dent?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's not kosher, but it should be fixed.
How can I fix it?
Take it to a sofer. Now, what they do is obviously a reliable sofer. It's not just going to put on plaster or glue, like we said. That's not kosher. What they do is they sort of massage the leather and sort of like pull it into.
It's redeemable.
Yeah, for sure. Although I do see that there's a little bit of a opening. You see that the four houses, they're sort of getting wider at the top, just a little bit.
Should I get a little clamp or something, or what?
Well, they should do that. They should advise you. You'll take it to a proper sofer who makes tefillin.
Talk
And
to
they
Rob.
know about it.
Let's know so far.
For the right price, get anything.
Right. So I don't think it's not kosher, but it should be fixed. I think.
Okay.
Okay.
Are the
Yeah.
corners good?
Look at this. Before your question, this is exactly the picture on page 3, the bottom. You see how it's rounded? It's just got warped by the moisture over time. It's not flat anymore. You see that?
Wow.
And so that's why it's not kosher anymore. But we're going to talk now about what they're made from. But this particular type of tefillin is often it's more malleable, it's more flexible, and gets ruined by the water damage or just moisture. And so that's page 3. Okay, everybody see that? The structure. There's a 4th page. 4th page coming up. Questions so far? Oh, good. Okay, page 4. Here we go. And then
Yeah, those are all.
pass these around, please.
I have a question about the
Yeah.
Shayyan.
Yeah.
So the wedge is cut out larger on one side so the knot can touch the bite, right?
Right.
So is there a particular way the knot is supposed to touch the bite? Like,
No, what do you mean away? I mean, it's supposed to touch it on the left-hand side.
Okay.
You know, any part of the knot that touches it, I think is good enough.
okay.
Okay. If you look at page 4, it says that the Hebrew words say that the tefillin must be made out of one piece of leather. No, you may be scratching your head, but yeah, actually, where's that tefillin I handed around? Yeah, open it up.
Plastic on the bottom.
It's not plastic. I hope not.
No,
I'll just show you this.
Definitely
Look,
plastic.
this is supposed to be one piece of leather from here all the way through here. All these 4 compartments is made out of one piece of leather. Now, it's very hard to make it all out of one piece of leather because you've got to make compartments. So what this one has, and you can look at the one you have in front of you, it's not actually part of one piece of leather. Here you have an insert. It's also made out of leather, but thin leather. That insert, you're looking at the shell roche. This is something that the cheaper tefillin, that's done in the cheaper tefillin. And then they glue it together, and it's considered to be as if it's one piece of leather. This is very, very hard. It's easier in the shell yad. Can I have my shell yad back? The one that's warped? Here, it's coming around. So this is all one piece of leather, and that's fine. And, you know, of course, the outside piece, obviously they added in some, you can see in the middle, to make it thicker. They added in these fillers over here, so that you have to have room for the strap. But ultimately, the outer casing is all made from one piece of leather. But I see here they added in an inner sort of a layer of an additional piece of parchment of leather to make it more square. It's hard to get done. Okay, yeah, question.
With the compartments, is there the different passage in each one? The order of the passages?
Yeah, the order of the passages. I gave out this page. I didn't give out the page yet. Give it to you right now. If you're asking.
I love that you bring papers. I love papers.
I'm happy to make you happy. Pass these around, please. In terms of what goes in the tefillin, here you have, I'm sorry, it's all in Hebrew, but the parshiot are in Hebrew. Here you go. And you can see that there are 4 passages. First one's called Kadesh. See where it says Aleph Bet Gimel Dalet on the left-hand side of your page. Aleph is Kadesh, ... Mia Mimia Mima. Second one is Vehaya Kivyacha, ... Third is Shema, and the fourth is Vahayam Shemua. So these are the 4 passages. Everybody agrees. The question is, what's the order? As you can see, according to Rashi, the most common standard tefillin is, as you can see, that the Vahayam Shemua is on the left-hand side, and then underneath it is the Shema Yisrael. And in the Rabbeinu Tam tefillin, they're switched.
Yeah,
you can see Rabbeinu Tam, the Shema and the Vahayam Shemua switched.
Yep.
So that's the difference. That's the big difference. So, in any case, you asked about the parsha, but let's finish. You took me out of the order. We're talking about the structure first before we get to the filling. Okay. Let's go to page 4. Page 4 says filling is supposed to be made out of one piece of leather. Let's start at the bottom. I showed you the ritzuot, the straps yesterday, and they're supposed to be black. And they have to be wide enough, best 11 millimeters, as you can see, at least. Most of our straps are already okay. And what happens is, the 4, I showed you on the 4 compartments, this one is not really 4 compartments. It looks like it is, but it's just scratched on the outside. I'm pretty sure. Anybody have a knife?
No, but I've got one with 4 compartments.
No, but I'm saying that the outside casing, it's really just one case.
Yeah.
And the inside, they put in like dividers. But it's not really, like you can see in Yaakov's tefillin. You can actually see that the 4 compartments, they're separating from each other. It's not so good, but it definitely shows you that they're 4 separate parchments. I have another one here. I'll show you in a minute. But as you can see in the middle of the page, it says the 4 batim and shel rosh have to be separate. In Orchad tefillin, this is an important hidur. In Pshutim tefillin, they are invalid if they can't be separated. Many times, due to excessive amount of paint, they become glued together. And what they actually do in the stores is they take a thread or sinew, and they put it through one compartment to the next, sort of force it through, to make sure that the compartments they've been pressed together. They made four compartments, but they pressed them together so that they have the square shape. But if they glue them to stay that way, so they don't start to expand and lose their shape, so then they'll be glued together so much that they're actually become like as one, glued to each other. And that's a problem. Now the story is, you look at the top of the page. Tefillin have to be made from one piece of skin. The pshutim tefillin sold in most bookstores rely on the halachic opinion that gluing makes two pieces like one. And pshutim tefillin is very common for the different pieces of skin to come apart at the seams, thus invalidating the tefillin. So if you're going to be using glue, then it can come apart. So pshutim is the word means simple tefillin. It used to be very common in many places where they didn't have the ability to make anything better, really, to make tefillin all out of one piece of skin and to mold it and to form it. It just didn't have the technology. But you can have, now we do. And so you can buy tefillin made from behema daka. This is not on the pages. I'm going to write it on the board, okay? I'm going to write the next. There's a definition that you have to know. We mentioned it yesterday. Reuben was mentioning, or somebody was mentioning it, that there is a behema means animal, and there's behema daka literally means a thin animal or a lightweight animal, and a behema gasa. They have to be kosher animals. So basically, this is cowhide, and this is goat skin or sheep skin or whatever it is, goat skin. Now, for almost all of Jewish history, this was not an option. You couldn't really make tefillin out of behema gasa because the cowhide is so thick and so difficult to work with. They didn't really have the technology to press it in the right shape and to make it do what they wanted to do, to make the four compartments out of one and so forth. So, but about 120 years ago, what's it called? Somebody who works with leather, makes skins.
Oh,
Skin guy, I don't know.
A tanner?
Tanner, maybe a tanner. Yeah, a tanner in Jerusalem figured it out. He used some chemicals and he used some presses, and to this day, you could see these are made from very thin. It's very thin leather. But if we had opened up Yaakov's real tefillin that he bought, those are not made from this type of leather. That's not going to warp like this warped very easily. It could if you put it in water and soak it for a day. You might get into trouble. So don't do that. Don't try that at home, folks. Or leave it in your car in the middle of the desert at 120 degrees Fahrenheit. It's gonna warp even the good tefillin, the behema gasa tefillin. But for the most part, it's much like tenfold more sturdy and more permanent. It could last for generations. Where this, you're lucky if it lasts 100 years, because it depends. If you get it, it gets the moisture. So it very easily will change its shape and become invalid. Besides the fact that it's not, many of them are glued together. They're pshutim, meaning that they're relying on the glue. They're not really one piece. And so, if at all possible now, we try to get film from behema gasa. Obviously, they're more expensive. Now I'll take questions. We'll go around the room. Noam, you start.
Well, it's not really a question, but I just try to feed the string through, and it stops at the top.
You might need more pressure. You might need more pressure.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It might be possible, but you need more pressure. Yeah. Next question. You ask a question? No. Yeah.
Question.
Thomas.
So most of the cut tefillin are made with goat skin, and then gasot with cow skin,
Correct.
and the pshutim are a mix.
Pshutim means.
This is an insert in it. That's an insert. It's not 3 separate sections.
Pshutim means, if I'm not mistaken,
I know it is closed at the top. It's not just the lack of pressure.
Okay.
No, his is cheaper stuff. You're talking
That's
about.
it's not mine.
There's something called pshutim mehudarim, which are still made today. Which, even though they're made from behema daka, they're made in a mehudar way. They don't use the glue technique. They actually are able to form. Obviously, when you're working with very thinner leather, the problem is going to be the tears. If there's a rip in it, it's not kosher. So it's quite a tricky business getting a kosher pair of tefillin. That's why it's so expensive, and it has to be handmade. And there's a question of machinery they use. Many of them say we do halacha. We say in many instances that if you just push the button to turn on the electricity, then the machine goes. It's considered to be by the hand of man. But many poskim don't like that, and they say we're going to look for a gear. It's actually turned physically by a person. So they do different parts of the processing, by hand, without even the use of electricity. Okay, take a look. Now let's open up and take a look at our film. You have another question?
Yeah, this is a little tangential. Why is there number 4 right there?
It's
Let
the
me see.
size of the block.
I'll show you.
Let's see.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, that's probably a size of this cover,
Oh, okay.
because there's different sized fill-in, and they say, that's a size 4, so they're putting a cover that size fits there, probably.
I have a question as well.
Yeah.
Leading up to page
First of all, I
5.
should read the clip.
What? Oh yeah, page 5. Okay, yeah. go
Yeah,
ahead,
so one side of the box has a shin. The other one has a shin as well, but with an extra branch.
yeah, take a look at it.
So I'm
Take a look at
assuming
it.
that means 3 patriarchs, 4 matriarchs. Is that what that means?
Maybe it's a good guess. Your guess is as good as mine. However, I did see a different interpretation, which I like better, because really the shin doesn't. There's no such thing as a shin with 4. It's not a letter, right? You can make up a letter, but that's not a shin.
It's like how in Cyrillic there's like there's a sh and then there's like a sh. So,
Cool. I didn't know that, but no.
Yeah,
I know what you mean, but it's nothing to do with anything.
It's okay. It's okay. In any case, the interpretation that I saw, I think it's from Ari Kaplan's book on tefillin. We must have it here somewhere. Actually, if you look at the way it's written, first of all, you see that it's pulled out. It's pulled out. It's bolded. How do you call that? That where it's pulled out of
Indented?
the surface. It's the opposite of indented.
Convex.
It's protruding.
Protruding. Thank you. And it's protruding, but it's not tacked on. It has to be pulled out from the leather. It's all from part of the leather. Also, another reason why it makes it expensive to make these things. They actually are, it's part of and you can't just take a press and push in the outsides.
Yeah,
You have to pull out the inside. So it's
How did they even do that? I never realized that. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. In any case, so when you look at the 4-lettered shin, sure, there's the 4-legged shin. Sure, there are 4 legs if you look at the protrusions. But if what gets formed in between the protrusions, the part that's sunken, has actually 3 legs to it. So it's inverted. It's sort of like what's that called? The mirror image? Or it's like the negative. It's the negative space, exactly. So the negative space of the shin, it causes a shin out of white space instead of a shin out of the actual black of the letters. So that's a cool way of looking at it. So that's also a shin, but it's sort of a negative shin. And what that means, I don't know. I don't know. But there must be some, but it's an ancient tradition. There must be some reason for
You want to take a look at this one?
Sure.
Because I don't really understand how that's all.
Sure. Shalom, Ari.
Shalom.
Manishma.
I have a question.
It's like plastic. What is that? That might it's probably not plastic.
It's not. No,
It
it's
looks
not.
like it.
No. This is leather. This is leather. It's
Really?
just a hardened leather. As it's a very small one,
Mhm.
and you can see that the inside is
that-
clearly glued.
Mhm.
This I'm not sure if this is 11 millimeters. You want to check that? Give this back to
Put it against the sheet.
put it against the sheet. I don't know.
What do you mean?
And
On the sheet.
Page 4.
The one in front of you.
let's open this up. You see, look, I'm going to open this up together. Everybody take a look. This
Yeah.
comes off and you can see that the one piece of leather is only the frame, but the middle box
How do you get the middle box?
The middle
Same
box
piece of leather?
is not the same piece. How do you? You form it. You can see it's glued here. Can you see that? That the bottom piece is glued. That the middle box is actually just going to be glued to the outer rim. So we're going to even keep going. I'll let you do it. Pull it apart. Give it back to
Here, there's one.
Ariel. Pull them apart so you can see how they glued it together. Now, everybody, look at the film that I gave you from. Is it you don't have one, Don? What do you have? Everybody have a film to play with?
I can play with my own.
Don't take that
I'm joking,
apart.
I'm joking.
Okay.
I just,
These straps.
it's just crazy how you just seem to have acquired all of these to fill in. Which one were we messing with? The roach or the
Anyone you want. Just pull them apart and look at how it's made. And you can see I'm pulling apart this shell roche also.
I'm like worried about there being splinters,
It's
but I
also
know it's not
glued.
wood.
There's no wood. It's all leather. Listen, it's hard. Hard leather can hurt you too, but so be careful. But I guess it's good I didn't bring knives.
I have in my room.
There'd be lawsuits. No thanks. I don't want anybody
I
hurting
love-
themselves. Oh, look.
I love how it's such
Pulled
a
it
crucial
apart.
question. Who has a
Pulled it
knife?
apart. And you can see that the casing is not the same piece of leather
Yeah,
as the top part. This is the shell yad,
yeah, I got
so
it.
it's only one box. Okay, now try to pull apart the box and see, is it really 4 compartments or it just so
There's
these
a
are 2
piece-
pieces of leather that they glued together, so it's considered to be
This is
as
card.
if one.
Can I see
Cardboard, I hope not. It could be, but I doubt it. It's probably leather. It's probably leather. They-
Parchment.
You have to be a really, stupid kind of cheater to just put in
No, it's probably
cardboard.
parchment.
It's parchment, but it's parchment.
And it's kosher. If you glue it together, it's kosher. It's just, it comes apart easily. Glue, as we know, it has a lifespan.
Yeah, it's acidic as well.
Acidic?
Probably. That's
Did
what
you
I heard.
say? Did you say chasidic?
Rabbi, the really like
Sorry.
the really like
Should be so.
what I don't know what the right word is, like the chaotic side of me just wants to get a hammer to this one, just see what happens.
Okay.
Rough.
Get out your aggressions, in weird ways. There's people that do that kind of thing.
If I were filthy, filthy rich, and I wanted to have the most expensive possible pair of fill-in, how much do you think that would cost me?
I'll tell you. So there's a limit to how much you can spend on these boxes on the outside. Right now we're just talking about the boxes. 2,000 shekels gets you top of the line
For boxes.
for the box.
But
What,
you
do
could
they have,
probably
a
get
special design or something, or
So
you could probably get
there's
this in
lots of-
gold, right?
No, the case.
The case, yeah,
I'm
we're-
talking about the
that's not
films.
part
So
of
the
the
case
drawing.
you can get anything you want. Of course, you could make a case of diamonds, whatever.
Okay.
The case is not part of the actual film.
it's the way it's made.
Yeah, it's making the box. We're talking about making the box. So how much can you spend on? It's leather. There's a processing. They have to press it. There's chumras. There's all sorts of additional enhancements which they can make sure that they, like I spoke about before, that they make sure that each of the 4 compartments is very separate with that string I was telling you about, and the precision of the square is so much more precise. But okay, let's say $1,000 maximum you can spend on only the boxes. Got that?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's the material and there's the workmanship and the craftsmanship but pretty much it's a piece of leather, and of course you're going to get behema gasa, not behema daka, and it takes them over time to cure the leather and to soften it up
You
and
do write the
to
parchment,
form it.
goes
So
inside.
that's but there's a limit to how much that can cost.
Yeah.
$1,000, let's say, tops, for the box. When we get to now, we're going to finish talking about the boxes. We'll talk about the really expensive part, and that's the parchments. And there, in the parchments, you can get anywhere from 1,000 shekels till 10,000 shekels, maybe more. If you get the, because we're going to talk about what's entailed, but there, I think the sky's the limit.
Tell me this.
If you want to ask me, because It depends which scribe you use. And like any person, like any, craft, you can buy a painting for $1,000. You buy a painting for $1 million.
Doesn't have
It
layers,
was a painting sold yesterday for, I think it was $36 million. A painting by some, is she an Italian painter or something like that? So I'd say the same thing with film, with writing the parchments. It depends on, I have tefillin written by the scribe who is,
Rough cut.
yeah, the super Kabbalist, whatever it is, and so there's no end to, what you can pay a scribe. If you're that good, you can command the price, and so that's what I'm saying. There's no maximum limit, but within, most people don't spend more than $1,000 for the parchments either. The most expensive tefillin I can imagine, and that you could go to the store and they could actually procure it for you, it would be $2,000, probably something like that.
Have you yourself ever participated in making tefillin in any way?
And a little bit. What happens is in many places,
Also, is it a mitzvah to help make tefillin, or in some regard?
it's a good question. It's a mitzvah to wear them. You're supposed to tie them on your hands.
Yeah.
Tie
There's
them
a
as a
mitzvah in
friend.
helping another Jew perform a mitzvah. So
Yeah, so making them is more, it's called a hechsher mitzvah. It's preparing for a mitzvah, which in itself is a laudable thing, but it's not one of the 613 to actually make them. But it's a necessary component. So let me tell you what I actually did. And this is cool. When many times you have a bar mitzvah boy who gets his tefillin for the first time, and you want to educate him. He's still a little boy, and you want to bring him into the mitzvah, and he should understand that, what he's wearing and how it was made, and a little bit appreciate. So you take him. There's a new thing. It's a relatively new phenomenon. You take him on a bar mitzvah tour. You take him to the tefillin factory shop, and you actually sit. He gets to see his box open, and he sees the parchments. Maybe he meets the scribe who wrote them, and he speaks with him and shows him a little bit about it. And then something that is commonly done is when the parchments are all done and the housings are all done, you take the parchment, you wrap it up in a special way. You might have, look, this is a parchment, which was, no, this is not, this is just a filler. The parchments I'll show you in just a minute. Somebody has a parchment here? Exactly. So this one is a yad parchment. It's all one scroll. You can see the 4 parshiot written one after the other.
it's upside down.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. And then what? But give me a head parchment.
There's one in here. It's real stuck in.
Oh, perfect. Great. So what I was going to describe is that what you do is you go with your bar mitzvah boy, and the scribe shows him how he rolls it up, and he actually ties it up. He puts a covering of a little piece of parchment on top, and then he ties it all with sinews. Everything here is made not synthetic material; it's organic material. And then the bar mitzvah boy himself can actually insert the parshas into the tefillin for his own tefillin, so he feels I made my own tefillin. And that anybody have a plier, tweezers? I do. I think I have this thing in my bag.
Did your children do that?
Yes, some of them.
I mean, obviously the men.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think a woman could find it interesting as well. I mean, it's not her mitzvah, but
I brought my daughter with.
yeah.
Brought my daughter with,
And then
but it was for her
Yeah, so I
brother's
guess
tefillin. Here, look at this. Aren't they good? Got a little pocket.
Well, genius right here. See, that's why you're a rabbi.
That's it. Always be prepared. So you guys want to gather around here? Gather around here and see.
Here, hang on. I'm going to spin this around, and I'm going to get the camera in real close.
Okay, we're gonna try to pull this guy out and grab. You see? Oh. See, I'm ripping it, which assuming it's not kosher, so I don't care. But
Hang on, Rav. See if there's another tool that you can get in and just sort of like scoop it out from underneath.
yeah, there we go. There we go.
Yeah, but
It's okay. It's covered. The cover.
it's Shema Israel. How is it?
Amazing, beautiful. Show the camera. Yeah, nice one. Okay.
Wait.
So that's one of these 4. I just want to show you how it's wrapped
How
up.
you let it, you're not allowed to like. You're supposed to bury that, right?
It has
Oh,
to
yes,
be buried
absolutely.
eventually.
Yeah.
Okay, so just be careful.
In the meantime, it stays in Rav Weinberg's bag of tricks. right? To educational. I'm pulling it out.
Fair.
Okay, now I think I
Fair,
got a
I'm
good
trying
grasp. I got a good
What does this
grasp of it.
number mean on the back here? Sorry.
That's for the scribe. He's telling
Marking it
you,
probably.
you know, when he made it.
Okay, it
or,
wasn't like the year it was made type of thing. Okay.
year one.
1462.
I was, I
doubt
was,
it.
I was,
Okay,
I
everybody
was very
see?
doubtful. Okay.
Pulling it out. It's coming out.
Okay.
Again, this is. You can see that this is, you know, sort of glued in. It's not part of the same. These are shooting.
Yeah, look at the top.
Okay, we pull it out. Now it's missing. It's supposed to have a little string around it, but okay, guess they don't. Anyways, oh, and it doesn't even have a cover, which means that if this was kosher, I would have just invalidated it because the letter underneath here just got broken. You see that? There's a hole in the aleph now.
We're making the coolest unboxing video.
Yes, yes. As a matter of fact, it's so interesting. You see there's a little circle here next to the vav.
Yes.
Usually that's a mark that's made when people look at the tefillin and they see a problem. And they just make a little mark here. So maybe it was fixed, maybe whatever. It needed to be touched up. Anyways, this is,
So maybe it was already always unkosher.
maybe, I don't know. But this is unboxing, exactly. Unboxing, that's film literally comes in a box by definition. And this is which parsha? Kadesh li, you see, Vaydaber Shalom Moshe Lamar, Kadesh li kol b'chor, which is, where should it be? Which
It's the last one.
it's
Or the first one.
the first one. It's the first one. We took it out of
First.
here or here. We took it out here, so it's the first one from the right, just like we saw on our pages. So it was in the right place.
I just
And-
stuffed it in.
It could be kosher. We don't know, but it's.
Well, you ripped
had
it,
its
so it's not
day.
kosher.
The truth is, the letter aleph is still there. I don't think I actually ruined the letter. See that the letter, the hole in the letter is luckily underneath. So I don't know. I don't see that any letters have been ruined. But look at the see the letters start to pop off here. I mean, they start to fade. It's still, you know, you can still see which letter it is. So it's kosher, but it needs to properly be checked letter by letter. And
Can you pass that around?
and it's so old that yeah.
There was a date on it. What was that date?
It says Kuf Reish. Maybe it's the name of the scribe on the back, so that you know. So when you're buying the parchments, obviously the quality of the formations of the letters, which we're going to deal with soon, is key. You got to form the letters nicely, and you know, according to the definition in halacha. But also, what makes the letters is the scribe and his holiness and his purity. As I said before, if someone's you know, going to be having holy thoughts when he writes the tefillin, that raises their value. It's hard to assess that. It's hard to assess that. I have had a sofer who I wanted to buy a Sefer Torah from, not for my own, but and he came to me and apologized, and he said, "I want you to know," he was totally honest. I go to the mikvah before I write the tefillin like you're supposed to, and he keeps all the mitzvot, and he's a good guy. But he says, I want to be totally honest with you. Part of my day job, you could say, that other than being a scribe, I'm also a therapist, and I do physical therapy. Physical therapy includes touch and massage, and I have a rabbi who gave me a heter, meaning a special allowance that, for the sake of your occupation, for the sake of health, essentially, you're allowed to give treatments even to women. So you might not want to have a sofa that touches women. I don't know that, you know, because
That's an interesting dual left.
fascinating concept. You know, ultimately,
When you mentioned his day job, I was in such a way I was expecting you to say something a little bit more unkosher.
I was expecting like a masseuse or something, but
that's pretty much what he said. Yeah, that's essentially what he's saying. But not, you know, doesn't do anything untoward. He does.
No,
does
I
therapy.
obviously.
So, any case,
It's healthcare.
Absolutely. So, you know, I had no problem with that. The bottom line is, if he has a heter from a rabbi, the rabbi says it's allowed, then he's not doing anything wrong. So, and even if he was, it's not like the sofer has to be an angel. You know, as long as he's kosher, keeps the mitzvot to the best of his ability. I think that's good. Okay, so now that's the housing. Any more questions about the housing? You guys all saw? You got this touch and feel? Let's move on. Oh, wait, I have here something. I'll show you. Look at this. Ah, this is another pair, which was recently opened, I believe. And it might even be kosher, but it's just so old that I was told it's not worth to check and to fix. But this is like I think the most recent pair that I just opened up of an old man, a student of ours who died. And as you can see here, take a look at this. See what they did here? We said that the shel yad is supposed to be the 4 passages on one parchment. What did they do?
Oh,
you
it's look at that.
Together.
They took 2 separate pieces of parchment and they attached them to each other.
Is that allowed?
If there was glue, obviously the sofer who did it, it might have been glue here, maybe not. Maybe they just hooked them up. It's not ideal. Ideally, it's supposed to be all on one parchment. So you can see there's all sorts of corners you can cut, all sorts of leniencies you can make. I'm not an expert to know enough whether this is, how bad a leniency this is. But obviously, they believe that they had a halach justification. As I said before about gluing the boxes, you can glue the different parts together, and it is kosher. There's no debate about that. It's just not ideal. So there's lots of levels of see here, this one, the letter Aleph is sort of the ink has jumped off the page, and it can invalidate it. Here in the middle of the bet, there's a white spot. That's what happens when when they wrote it. You can pass it around. When you wrote it, it was fine, but over time the ink just jumps off the page, and then it can invalidate the letters. So, anyways, this is the last pair. Now we're going to put this all aside.
And get parchment.
Get parchment. Yeah. So everybody, I guess, wrap up, please. Again, your pairs of tefillin. The ones that you have are all one pair. So mine is also going to be one pair here. 2 pairs. This came from someone? Somewhere else?
That was
That one mine?
That's it.
Huh.
Come from.
I think I lost it.
Yaakov. You need to be very careful that you don't.
Yeah, I know. These ones are mine. I'm putting them right here. These ones are mine.
It looks like they have actually hooked it on.
I feel like I
It's
lost.
hooked. I understand. Yeah, it's hooked without any glue. I don't know if that's. I don't know enough about it. I'm not an expert sofer, but I imagine it's kosher.
I know there's a sofer in training that's studying in the Hebrew departments.
Cool.
It's nice.
Cool. Okay, so clean up. Put those away. I'm gonna give out the parchment. And the quills.
Yeah.
So, hypothetically, if I had about 200 kilos worth of clay, and I wanted to make myself a golem,
What's a golem?
where would I go to get a sofer to write the scrolls that I have to put inside the golem?
What's a golem?
That's a good question. Scribes? You can find any.
Yeah, but what specifically do they have to put in?
Oh,
Wait. Like a story?
Okay, folks. Everybody take one of these each. And
I'll have to look that up.
here's another piece of paper I can give out to you. Pass these around, one each. This really I should have given out yesterday, but I didn't realize I had
Oh, that's in good
different,
shape. Okay, that one's in good shape.
That's the page that I was reading to you about the 4,649 laws.
So, by the way, I do use a fountain pen, so I am trained
For
already.
train, perfect,
Yes.
perfect. And now this is the all-important page. Everybody should get one and sort of fold it out so you can look at it. This is, pass this around, please. This is Ashkenazi script,
Get one of these.
and this actually has a
The correct script.
Is this like a pamphlet?
It was photocopies.
Now, is the I guess I would say font, although font specifically refers to stamps for printing. But I'm just gonna use it from anyway.
We use
Is
it
the font
nowadays.
the same for to fill in as it is for mezuzahs as it is
Yes,
for
yes.
Torahs.
Yes.
So a sofer could be like, I'm running a Torah right now, but I'm in the mood to just push out a couple mezuzot. There's like no difference in what letters he's writing.
Correct. So,
What he's made out of.
It's a goose. What type of goose is it?
I'm not sure. This piece of parchment for you.
Well, what part of the goose?
It's a feather. It's a feather. It's from the wing. From the wing.
Okay.
This I do know. It is from the wing.
We have scissors.
It's from the left wing. You have a knife.
Why is it so
I believe it's from the left wing. The left wing will have the feathers that go out. So if you're right-handed, you want to have left wings, and if you're left-handed, you want to have right wings.
Cool. So you hold this for me. You see, I cannot rip it. I try. It's parchment. It's not easy to rip. Maybe with a knife.
Puncture.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Please do not cut yourself. I
There.
will laugh.
Okay, there you go. Hand it down. There's a piece for you.
Thank you.
Piece of parchment. There you have. Try to flatten it out. You can write on it.
Now, is there kedusha to this parchment?
No. Not until you write a holy name on it.
You write on the fluffy side.
No, the opposite.
Oh wow! I didn't realize, but I didn't realize, but that's like the hair of the animal.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm keeping this.
That's the point. It's a gift for you.
You're
You're welcome. Now, here we have some ink. We have some.
I'm gonna wait. Okay.
You have an inkwell?
No. I don't. I'm not that extra. I use cartridges. I cheat. I'm gonna write a letter to my mother. I'm completely serious. I'm going to write a letter to my mother. I'm going to mail it to her in an envelope.
Write a letter to your dad complaining.
Dear Father,
That should be enough.
you have
betrayed me.
you have betrayed me by not buying me the right to fill it.
Yeah. It's special ink. I'm going to talk to you about the ink and how it's made. This is the real stuff that Sofrim use. It's
Is this supposed to have a little split? at the
Dio
top?
Nahari. It says here.
Is this supposed to
It's
have-
made
Yeah,
by
let me
a
show you.
special sofer who is famous.
You see how mine has a split in it? That's for the ink fee.
And it's made. This ink has to be made. Of course, it's permanent. It has to be permanent ink. You guys will share.
I'm wearing one of my good shirts.
Yeah, careful with the ink. Don't ruin your shirts. So we have one for every two guys. Okay, good. I'll have one for me too.
I don't know
Why
what I
not?
want to write.
Why not? You're gonna write your name. Shalom Aleichem. Wow, יהודי חשוב.
Do I use this part that's already?
Okay, I am going to roll
I
up my
haven't seen you
sleeves.
forever.
I'm going to take off my watch.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Amen. Crack out the bottle of
So
wine.
nice to see you.
10 in the morning.
How many years?
So nice.
Present for the Shabbat table. Put that on your table and.
Yeah, the present is to see you.
Okay.
Wow, so
You have a
good to
class
see
now
you.
here?
Yeah, we're actually practicing to write Sefer Torah. Are you interested?
Is this what the scribes use?
But yeah.
To come 10 o'clock to
These
this.
are used.
What is
We
this?
start 10:15
It's called a quill.
next class.
It's from the wing of a goose.
10:15, this we're
Ah,
finishing.
so I interrupt you.
Yeah, a
Fine,
milk mating
in the middle,
goose.
but,
Like, okay, look at my pen.
Where is the room?
Look at my
down the
pen.
hall to the
Look at the
top of
tip of my
stairs.
pen.
10:15.
You see?
Okay.
Other side. There you go. See how they look?
You
It
come
looks
with
exactly
gifts.
the same as the tip of that.
Shabbat is coming.
Just that's it.
Yeah.
Basically, a
we'll
fountain
know. A
pen
few minutes,
is
we'll
a quill, but made out of metal and not made out of a feather.
So everybody look
Please
for the
be
letters
careful.
of your name and try. Now, obviously, I'm gonna talk while we do this, but you can start to get started. Choose. You can see the 1, 2, 3, 4. It's supposed to guide you about the proper order of forming the letter.
I can't understand how. What do I do for the mem?
I do have a problem. Look for the number
Sure.
1.
Can you just like here you go
Can you
first.
give me the bag?
You go first.
What?
Yaakov, can you give me the bag of
Just start with this a little bit.
Alright, I like this one.
Okay, I'm gonna.
I got here and you got there. Yeah.
Okay. We just
the
like
mem. You start from the middle.
I wonder if
Dip.
it's yours.
But first of all, you got to realize which side you're writing on.
oh, there's a specific way you write it. Okay.
Yeah.
So Yaakov, it would first be a Yud.
But the way you form the yud, this is following the Ashkenaz Beit Yosef / Ari font. In many places in Europe, this is what is used. That's what it says in the Hebrew.
Okay, that actually doesn't look that bad.
And I think, I'm not sure which side you write on here.
Yeah.
I think you write on the
maybe a
first
Kuf.
side, actually.
The first side.
So Kuf is. Where's the Kuf?
Mm,
Oh, right there. Oh wow.
let me see what it says here.
Oh my goodness. There's that. Oh my gosh.
It's
Kuf
interesting
is
that these aren't
Kuf
in
is
order.
9 thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
Okay, the olive is gonna be.
is this ink kind of old?
The olive has 9 steps.
Or is the ink kind of old?
Dunk is fine. It is old, but it shouldn't go bad.
Oh gosh, I'm just no. Okay. That's the worst proof in the history of proof. Okay, where's the Vav? Is this the Vav?
Yeah. This is one.
Vavs are nice and simple. Okay, except for me. And
Okay, that actually looks pretty good.
how? Oh, yours is a lot better than mine.
Yeah, well, it's because I picked out a good pen. I picked out a good quill.
Can I borrow your quill for like 2
Not
seconds?
like not at all.
Okay, I got a mem too. Let's see your mem. Okay, mine's better. Look, got to be a little more precise
Yeah, but
there.
you're like an actual rabbi, so and I'm like 22, so
You're a rabbi in progress.
no.
I have a question. Sorry, Rabbi
Sure.
Weinberg, if I missed. Oh, what the hell? This is so nice. What ink? What ink is this? Like, this was like
Okay,
a.
exactly. So this is what I'm supposed to tell you instead of doing my own letters. I'm supposed to be teaching. I'm so excited.
I'll just hold it.
Okay. Oh, the iron.
Where's the iron?
Form right.
Oh no, I,
I
gotta
think
do an olive now.
I think the
Letter
letter.
olive is kind of tricky.
I think the letter with the most strokes is the tzaddik. It has. I see it has 11. I don't see.
Yes, you have to be a real tzaddik.
I saw what you did there.
Okay, that's not that bad.
Rob, if you don't mind me talking and asking you questions, what is like the at what pace do they write letters at? And like, do the good scribes do it at?
I can't answer that. I think it depends on your expertise. But as you can see, you have to be careful. When you make a mistake, it's not easy to erase. It's not a pencil.
Oh, race is easy.
That's true. Like, imagine getting down to the last little bit and then.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
You don't want it all.
How's
That's how
that?
they train their whole life.
How's that?
Well,
Okay.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Machon Meir, I didn't know you had a second name.
I do. My legal name is Mayor. No one calls me Mayor.
Cool.
Do not ever call me Mayor.
Okay.
That doesn't feel wrong.
So
It's more
take a
like-
look up here, guys, for a second. This is a berry. It's called gall. Gall. It's a type of a fruit of a tree, and this is from what the dye is made. It's a Hebrew word, I think, afatzim. And just who's being filmed here, Machon? Me or you?
You
Me,
were.
me, okay,
If
so
you want,
which-
if you want to, if you
It's fine,
want,
it's fine, it's fine.
okay.
I'll go around now to see how
But here,
it's
but
doing.
here, if you want to get in.
Anyways, this is the this is what it's made from. The dye. It's made from a plant product that we'll just go around to see everybody's writing their names. Moshe, good job. How's it going, Noah?
Pretty good.
All right, lovely. Wow, professional. Russell, terrific. Aha, we got. That's a nice and big size, Ariel.
Oh yeah.
You're ready for the mezuzah at the kotel. Thomas and Yaakov, where's yours?
I wrote mine. It was.
Where is it?
Good.
Thank you.
Oh, you don't have a piece of
right
parchment?
here.
Oh, you do? Okay, fine. You're sharing. That's good.
Caring is caring.
Beautiful.
Yeah, this is the last one. Okay.
Most of you remember where this came from?
Almost.
This big one?
No, I don't.
Okay.
You know what I find interesting? That like most ways that I see Thomas in English, it's a TH. It's like Thomas.
Well, he's from Italy, so he probably spells it differently.
No, no, I have it with the H.
That's not interesting.
Try doing it again, just one a bit smaller.
So basically, what we're doing now is ancient calligraphy, and
Ancient calligraphy. We're still doing it today.
it's true. We revive it. We keep it alive. There are a lot of secrets to the Hebrew letters. There's books written about the subject, how the formation of each letter is meaningful.
Can you give an example of
Absolutely.
a letter that is meaningful to you in some way?
Very cool. Cool example. They say that the Hebrew word for truth is
Oh, I know this.
emet.
It's like the first, middle, and last letter.
Also. And the opposite of emet is
That's a very interesting mem, by the way.
thanks. Sheker. Sheker means falsity. Now the I think it's a pasuk, or maybe it's an aphorism of the sages. I'm not sure. It says Sheker ein lo raglayim. A lie doesn't have a leg to stand on. If you look at the letters, you see here, there's only one leg, and only one leg here. Whereas truth has two, of course, solid base of at least two legs for each letter. So the letters sort of reflect the meaning or the intimations of the words formed by them.
Do you have another one?
Another one.
I'm putting the pressure on.
Talk about how there's a bet inside the pay.
What?
That's one that I remember.
You
from
look
my
at the front of the
childhood.
pay. That's good.
There's a bet inside the pay?
Look in the
as I say,
workspace.
I am very small Kabbalist. I don't know much of this stuff.
Bet? Oh my god, I see it now. Now I can't ever unsee it.
Exactly.
Oh wow, that's terrible.
This is these are quills, as you can see, made from feathers.
I'm trying my name.
Sfaradim use a reed, actually.
What's a reed? Sorry.
Reed is from plants, not from a bird. It's a type of a plant that grows in the ground and it has like a little bit of firmness to it. And if you, as you can all see, we didn't give you, but you have to learn how to carve out the top of the quill here. It has to be formed, and the way you form it is going to affect the way your letters look, how thick they are, how precise you can be, and it's quite an art to get that quill or the reed carved out, just so the point is perfect.
If you look at my fountain pen,
Yeah.
it's called an F
Wow,
nib.
that's good.
F stands for
Mine's
fine.
very bold.
So it's basically there's no thickness. It just
Interesting.
makes
Yeah.
it's completely circular.
It's a ball,
You see what
yeah.
I write?
Uh-huh.
So it's not a calligraphic pen.
Little,
I
It's just
understand.
regular writing.
Just for fun.
But it's the same concept.
That's been years.
Oh, yours is good.
If you've done your name, maybe I suggest you maybe try to write Shema Yisrael, but don't write the name of God.
Should I just do a hey?
Yeah, just
And
a
then
hey or a
and a
dalet.
cuff?
Yeah.
I have to make the ayin and the dal a little bit bigger, right?
Nice. That's the custom. Very cool. Okay, so I hope this gives you a little bit of appreciation of the tefillin and how they're made. Jewish people have sacrificed, been very dedicated to fulfill these mitzvahs. We mentioned the other day, even in the Holocaust, in the camps, they would smuggle in a tefillin here. On the death camps, on the death marches, they would pass a tefillin from one to the other and quickly put it on, and without the Nazis watching, and recite the Shema Yisrael. Even if they only had one half of the tefillin, there's a debate, but most people assume that each one is a mitzvah on its own. We usually try to wear them only together, but if you have no choice, of course, one is better than none. And why do I love this exercise of having you write, actually?
You just ask Rob Lispman to cancel this class. We can do this for the next hour.
Because what I'd like to be
It humbles
giving
us.
you, the message, is that you listen to the kids chanting outside the window. What are we training each and every little Jewish child to do? What are we training you to do here in the Beit Midrash? To write your letter in the Sefer Torah, to write give your contribution to the Jewish people. Each and every one of you has a unique writing style. You have a unique letter. They say that the Torah has 600,000 letters in it. It's not precise, but the Jewish people had 600,000 people in it. It's also not precise. But the concept of 600,000 is that this is the entirety of the Jewish people, and each and every letter is important. Each person that if one letter is missing from the Sefer Torah, then the Sefer Torah is puzzle. So if you don't contribute your part, the Jewish people are going to be lacking. So let me leave you with that. Let it be for us a message to write your own chapter in the book of the Jewish people.
Oh man, I like that.
Okay. Unless you want to turn off the camera.
Yeah.
And I'll collect up the stuff, get out of the way.